Okay, this is video number 3 for our mini lessons for our travel brochure project. This math concept is about finding the conversion of currency using a unit rate to do the conversion. So in different countries they have different currencies. So part of your job is to find out what the hotel price and what the airfare price is in dollars and convert it to the currency of the country in which you are featuring on your brochure. As many countries deal with euros in Europe, that's what my example will be. There's plenty of places to find the conversion and plenty of places online that will do the conversion for you, but I want you to do the conversion mathematically also as part of the project to show that you understand how to use unit rates. Before we talk about unit rates, we need to talk about ratios. Okay, so a ratio is a comparison of two numbers by division. So we could have a ratio of 4 to 7, 4 boys to 7 girls in a classroom, 4 to 7, or 4 to 7. It is written as a comparison by division because it does look like, especially written in this third way, like a fraction. And when we get into it in class, we'll see how ratios act like fractions very much. One way that there's one way that they don't act like a fraction, and we'll discuss that also in our conversations. But a ratio is just a comparison of any two numbers by division. Okay, another ratio is called a rate, which is down the bottom here. A rate is a ratio comparing one unit of measure to another unit of measure. So for instance, you might be familiar with a rate. If you don't drive yet, but parents drive. If you know anyone who does a significant amount of driving as part of their job, they may want to track how many miles they go on gallons of gas. So a rate is a ratio comparing one unit of measure. So let's say someone travels 250 miles, okay, and they do that on, let's say they do that on 5 gallons of gas. Okay, that is a rate. You are comparing one unit of measure, miles, to another unit of measure, gallons. Okay, so that is called a rate. You're comparing one unit of measure. It's a ratio comparing one unit of measure to a different unit of measure by division. Okay, all right. So that is a rate, and then we have what's called a unit rate. A unit rate compares one unit of measure to a single unit of the other measure. Okay, so this person who you know who does the traveling, they travel 250 miles on 5 gallons of gas. That doesn't say a whole lot. Typically, what people want to track their mileage in is how many miles is that per 1 gallon. Okay, and that is the unit rate. And oftentimes we can set it up as an equivalent fraction. So it's 250 miles to 5 gallons. How much is it to 1 gallon? Well, we divide 5 gallons by 5, and we get 1 gallon. And whatever you do to the top number, you need to do to the bottom number. Okay, and there's another way rates aren't, or ratios aren't like fractions. We don't refer to the numerator and denominator. We get less formal and talk about the top number and bottom number. So 250 divided by 5 is 50. So the unit rate compares the 50 miles to a single gallon of gas. So a unit rate compares one unit of measure to a single unit of the different measure. So that's what a rate, a unit rate, and a ratio look like. So to do our conversion, we're going to talk about converting, in this case of East Overshoe, we're going to talk about converting euros, or from dollars to euros. And if you remember, the price above I had for my airline flight was $120. And our job is to find out, well, how many euros would that be? Okay, so to do that, we're going to use a unit rate. Well, what's our unit rate? Our unit rate is right here. And we could read it as euros per dollar. How many euros do you get in $1? So $1 gets you 88 hundredths of a euro, 0.88 euros per dollar. There's our 1 unit of measure compared to a single unit, 1 unit of a different measure, dollar. So unit rates are compared to single units of measure. And when you research the currency conversions, you'll see that that's exactly what you'll get from these websites. They'll tell you how many euros it is per dollar or how many dollars it is per euro. So you need to find the right unit rate to do your conversion. But this is how you would set it up. The question is, if this is the unit rate, 88 hundredths of a euro per dollar, how many euros are in $120? Okay, and we know we're dealing with the same ratio because it says it right there. The equal sign tells us that they are the same ratio. Okay, so one way that ratios can act like fractions is, one way you can do finding the equivalent is right here. Look at the bottom number. To go from $1 to $120, either multiplying and dividing, we're going to multiply by 120. Okay, and that means to keep it equivalent, we need to multiply the top by 120. So to find the missing value of euros, it's 0.88 times 120. So 8 times 0, add it up. 2 places to it, so I come back. Okay, so $120 American is 105.6 euros. So that is how you would do the conversion from your price for your flight in dollars to the price for your flight in euros. And as a side note, when you do your percent off, you're still going to find your percent off in dollars, since that is what we're most familiar with. Okay, so that is our third mini lesson on using unit rates, in this case euros per dollar, but depending on your country you may have a different currency, but in this case our unit rate is euros per dollar, and finding out how many euros there are in this case for the $120 or the price of the flight. And also on the project you are converting the price of the hotel to the native currency, and you will use your unit rate to do that.